very short notice. I didn't understand you didn't anticipate being here. So I appreciate you being here. What I have before me, and Mr. Bowman, you can come back on. He was there. There he is. Okay. So when I came in yesterday, just to tell everybody where I am, I had this, as always happens, I had one of these envelopes. It was sealed. In my box, it had a copy of the paperwork. It had a copy of, had a flash drive that had, I don't know, between 4 to 5 videos, maybe, body worn camera, which I watched. So I understand what the substance of this is about. They were all relatively short. And it includes Mr. Bowman's petition for release of law enforcement recording. It included an order. But what gave me pause is that this says, this is for hearing today, Tuesday at 2, in Odyssey, well, not in Odyssey, in the order signed by Judge Strickland for a hearing, it says next Tuesday, the 14th of January. And it's apparently still listed on that calendar. I asked Mr. Bowman about that, and he said he contacted the TCA to have it moved up sooner, and they did. And that's kind of the extent of the knowledge. So again, the question I then had was, what notice did the city have that the hearing had been rescheduled from next week to today? Mr. Few, can you speak to that?
None.
Okay.
Your message a few minutes ago was the first I'd heard of it. I contacted my office. I literally just walked out of a dentist appointment about 10 minutes ago, and I was able to see the petition that Mr. Bowman filed. So that's the extent of my knowledge about the case at this point in time.
He said he tried to communicate with Miss Battle last week. I don't know if she was in the office or not.
She was out. She was out of the country, actually. She just got back in the country within, I think, this past weekend.
So, Mr. Bowman, they're saying they didn't have so in other words, you anticipated that this hearing would be next week. Is that right, Mr. Few?
No. Well, so what's let's do a quick introduction. Mr. Few, what's your role, if you don't mind?
I'm one of the lawyers with CMPD.
Okay. So from my understanding, your office was notified of this when it was filed. I can go ahead and pull up a quick email to that effect.
I mean, the date of hearing was
the
dated
14th.
January 14th, signed by Judge Strickland.
So I've got something.
Can you see that?
I mean, I'm going to take your word for it.
Okay.
Yeah. What I know is that I got and I can show you something that I have too. Hold on a second.
Sure. I'd love to see it. Because Richard informed me, Richard is the clerk, he told me that this is still calendared for next Tuesday. It's still in the court calendar for next Tuesday. So how it got to today is a bit of a mystery. For me, anyway.
Okay. I'm looking at the document right now. Let me go ahead and try to figure out how I can share my screen with you all to show it to you.
But while you do that, I can share with you the screen that all the rest of us have seen. Showing the date of hearing for this. What's interesting is that there is what he's going to share is a date of hearing that says, I can see it in Odyssey right now, and was file stamped by the clerk for the 7th of January. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's in Odyssey. That's probably what he wants to share. I'll share that so that you guys can see it, but then I'll also look at then I'm going to share the order from Judge Strickland. So are y'all able, if you can probably click on that to expand it, but can y'all see that?
Yes.
And you see at the bottom, it has the date of hearing 1/7/2025. Now, however, at the same time, and I think this is where the confusion arose, there's the order by Judge Strickland that's literally dated the same day.
On the
I'm going to
7th
share this. I'm going to share this too.
for the
This
hearing
order
today. Yep.
from Judge Strickland says, you can see there, the order signed by Judge Strickland, that says 1/7. But the order that I have a physical order in hand, in my hand, that says the date of the hearing is 1/14. I mean, that's literally what I have.
So what
I
you're
don't
looking
understand.
at,
I don't understand the discrepancy between why there's an order in Odyssey saying that the date of hearing. There's an Odyssey order saying 1/7, and then I have a physical order from Judge Strickland signed 1/14. I don't know how to resolve that.
what I have on my end is what you're showing right now with that signature.
Yeah.
That's
But I have
date of
the exact
hearing.
same order, right? This is literally the same order by Judge Strickland, dated. Oh, this order is dated November 15th, but it's the timestamp is 1/12. So this order was clocked in by a different clerk, R. Smith, about 4 hours later. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Here's my question for the city. And I know that Ms. Battle has joined us and is script probably trying to figure this out as well. Let me stop sharing my screen. Is the city in a position to address this today, given this conflicting notices?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I don't know if Miss Battle has looked into it.
Ms. Battle probably knows. She might know a touch more about it.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm familiar with the videos that have been requested. However, by statute, CMPD is required to give notice to the officers, and the notice that has gone out to the officers who have a statutory right to appear states the date given of January 14th, 2025, based on the in-camera transmittal order signed by Judge Strickland. And so because the officers have a statutory right to appear and they were noticed of the 14th, I would ask the court that we actually hear the matter on the 14th. I do understand that nobody on this call had anything to do with the discrepancy in the dates, but given that the officers do have a right to appear, I would ask that we have the hearing on the 14th. And I or Mr. Few would appear.
I don't think this was intentional. I think that somehow I've never seen an order like this signed by a judge that has the two different dates of hearing with two different timestamps. It's really strange. It's really strange. But it is what it is. It's obvious to see what the source of the confusion was. If one party got one order and another party got a different order. I understand where this came from, but the point about notice to the affected officers and that they do have the right under statute to appear, and if they were noticed to appear on the 14th, then that's very compelling to me. And so I think the appropriate thing to do is to handle this, is to delay this until next Tuesday. I will pass this off to the judge who's going to be the judge in civil motions next week. And then it gives those those officers have their statutory right to appear and be heard if they want to be heard. They may not. 1 week. This happened 2 years ago. 1 week isn't going to make that big of a difference.
Have they been notified at all about this particular matter? Because I believe I've
Your Honor, we gave statutory required notice to officers again of the January 14th date. Nothing to do with the 7th.
Yeah.
Today's the first time that Mr. Few or I or anyone in the police attorney's office has heard that this matter was set in any way for today. All of our notices show the 14th.
Right.
Well,
right.
Ms. Battle, I sent email, and I'm happy to check my record to see if you've responded to any of my emails. I don't know that you have. But when you reached out to the officers, did they make mention of received notice that the hearing was on the 14th? Did they say that they actually wanted to attend that hearing or not? Because if they've mentioned that perhaps that they're not interested in hearing, then I don't I don't know, if we really have to wait until the 14th. I don't mind either way. I mean, quite frankly, but if they're not going to come on the 14th and they're not going to be here today, I don't see where that creates any material difference.
Your Honor, I would just emphasize the notice that we gave the officers for the 14th, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from the court about notices.
I wouldn't expect Ms. Battle to be able to answer that.
Okay, no worries.
Because they weren't expecting to be here today. Again,
No worries.
I'm not aware, we're not looking at the statute of limitations issue here. There's nothing that's gonna run that I'm aware of. So out of an abundance of caution, I mean, I'm always hoping to resolve things as soon as I can, but out of an abundance of caution.
No worries.
I'll allow this to roll forward, and what I'm gonna do is I'm looking for tape. I'm gonna reseal it. And by seal it, I mean just with fancy masking tape. I'm just gonna reseal it, and I'm gonna give it back to my judicial assistant. And actually, no, not even do that. It's gonna sit on my desk until I know who the judge is in civil motions next week, and then I'll just hand deliver it to them and make sure they understand, the scheduling issue that was a concern, and just it's going to be reset for next Tuesday. Richard, you can confirm that it's visible on the Odyssey calendar for Tuesday, right?
Yep, it is.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. So I'm just gonna let this sit on my desk. I'm gonna go ahead and tell people about it, but I'm gonna sit it on my desk so it doesn't get lost between now and Tuesday. All right? Okay.
I appreciate your help. Ms. Battle, just real quick, while I've got you on the line, are you all, is CMPD actually interested in resolving this outside of court, or do we need to proceed?
That is a question for y'all to discuss offline. All right. So I don't want to be privy to any of that. Okay.
Sounds good. Feel free to give me a call or email, Ms. Battle. Always available.
Okay.
Right,
thank you for your patience thank you for your patience and understanding. And
I'll take that as a no.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you,
so
Honor.
much. All right. Take care. Bye.